Salam sejahtera, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, Salam Kebajikan, Rahayu. Good afternoon to you all. Praise Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala for His blessings, enabling us to attend this event this afternoon. Welcome to today's Studium Generale, organized by the Faculty of Education and Teacher Training, Universitas Terbuka. I am Ayu Diniawati, and I have the honor of being your host for this exciting session. I'm delighted to see so many enthusiastic participants joining today. Today, on Monday, 25th of August, 2025, the Faculty of Education and Teacher Training of Universitas Terbuka proudly presents Studium Generale with the theme Unplugged, Computational Thinking Meets Coloring Books, Learning Without Screens. Ladies and gentlemen, to always develop the spirit of nationalism and patriotism, first, let's sing the national anthem of Indonesia Raya, then continue with the duty hymn. We kindly ask everyone to stand.
Menempa semangat pelajar.
Please be seated. Now let me invite Dr. Ahmad Anwar Abidin MPD to lead us in prayer.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, before we begin, let us take a brief moment to offer our prayers for the smooth conduct and success of this event. With your permission, I will lead the prayer in accordance with Islamic tradition. Participants of other faiths are kindly invited to pray according to their own beliefs and practices. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hamdan na'imin, hamdan syakirin, hamdan yu'afi ni'amahu wa yukafi mazidah. Rabbana kama yanbaghi li jalali wajhika wa 'azimi sultanik. Allahumma salli wa sallim ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Allahumma ftah lana alaina fathan mubarakan fi hadzal liqa' waj'alna nastafidu minhu bi akmalil fa'idah. Waktub lana bil ajri wal falah fid dunya wal akhirah. Allahumma yassir lan yassir wa la tu'assir antal muyassir kulla asir. Rabbana arinal haqqa haqqa warzuqna ittiba'ah wa arinal batila batila warzuqna ittiba'ah warzuqna istinabah. Allahumma ja'alna min ahlil ilmi wal khair wa la taj'alna min ahli syarri wal dhair. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina adzaban nar. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun ala mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Dr. Ahmad Anwar Abidin. Now we will have welcoming remarks. First, let us hear from Ibu Cahya Kusuma Ratih S.S.T. MT, Director of SEAMOLEC. Please welcome Ibu Cahya.
Tes. Oke, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Distinguished Dean of FKIP Universitas Terbuka, Prof. Dr. Ucu Rahayu, esteemed lecturers, student and distinguished guests. Here we have our Professor Roberto Araya. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah. Good afternoon all, and it's truly an honor for me on behalf of SEAMOLEC to be here and to extend my warmest greeting at this Studium Generale of FKIP Universitas Terbuka. Well, as we know that Universitas Terbuka has been a pioneer of open distance learning in Indonesia and already a source of inspirations across the Southeast Asia regions. For SEAMOLEC, collaborating with UUT is not only an opportunity, but also a commitment to strengthen inclusive and innovative approach to distance education. So today's sessions is very special, yeah, because we will learn from the world's leading expert, Professor Roberto Araya. He will share his insights on unplugged computational thinking meets coloring books, learning without a screen. This theme is highly relevant to us as it reminds us to the digital literacy and computational thinking that can be nurtured creatively even without relying solely on technology screens. Yeah. Through simple yet innovative approach, we can foster critical, logical, and collaborative thinking skills from an early stage. Yeah. We believe that this will be especially meaningful for the students of FKIP Universitas Terbuka, many of whom are future teachers. Yeah, you are the ones who will bring innovations into classrooms and learning space across Indonesia. With distance education as a powerful tool, we can ensure that no learners is left behind, no matter where they live. On this note, I wish all of us an inspiring and fruitful Studium General. May this forum broaden our perspective, strengthen collaborations, and encourage us to continuously innovate for the advancements of educations in Indonesia and the Southeast Asia regions. Yeah. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Ibu Cahya. Next, we are honored to hear from Professor Dr. Ucu Rahayu, M.Sc, Dean of Faculty of Education and Teacher Training. Please, Professor Ucu, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, distinguished guests. Allow me to extend my warmest greeting and respect to our honorable speakers, Professor Roberto Araya from the Institute of Education, University of Chile, Ibu Cahya Kusuma Ratih, the Director of SEAMOLEC, also Ibu Isti Rohiyah, PhD, as Vice Dean for Finance, Resource, and General Administration at our faculty, Faculty of Education and Teacher Training, Universitas Terbuka. Also to all participants, including the lecturers, academic community, and students of FKIP Universitas Terbuka. On behalf of the Faculty of Education and Teacher Training, Universitas Terbuka, I am honored to welcome you all to today's Studium Generale. This event is part of our continuous effort to provide meaningful academic experiences that bridge theory, research, and practice in education. The theme we raised today, Unplugged, Computational Thinking Meets Coloring Books, Learning Without Screens, is highly relevant in the current educational landscape. While digital technologies dominate our classroom and daily lives, it is essential to remember that learning is not always dependent on screens. Unplugged approaches offer creative, inclusive, and accessible alternatives that stimulate problem solving skills, creativity, and critical thinking, particularly for young learners. We are particularly excited because this session highlights one of Professor Araya's most popular contribution, the use of coloring books as a medium to teach computational thinking. At first glance, a coloring book may appear to be a simple activity, but through these innovative approaches, it becomes a powerful tool for developing sequencing, abstracting, and logical reasoning skills that are very foundation of computational thinking. This method demonstrates that effective learning materials do not need to be complex or digital. Sometimes the simplest tools carry the greatest impact. One of our mission, FKIP mission, is to prepare future teachers who are not only competent in pedagogy and subject matters, but also adaptable and responsive to the diverse realities of Indonesian classroom. With Indonesia vast geography spanning thousands of islands, educational contexts vary widely. While some schools enjoy advanced digital facilities, many others, especially in rural and remote regions, still face significant challenges in accessing technology. This is where innovative low-tech approaches like Professor Araya become highly relevant and applicable. In Indonesia, Particularly at the primary school level, the integration of digital learning is still limited. Many children in underserved areas continue to rely on traditional learning materials. By introducing unplugged method of computational thinking, FKIP Universitas Terbuka can play a strategic role in equipping teachers with pedagogical strategy that work effectively, even in low-resource settings. This not only benefit for our faculty and students, but also contributes to the broader national goal of ensuring equitable and high-quality education for all Indonesian children, regardless of where they live. In this opportunity, I'd like also to express my appreciation to SEAMOLEC, our academic community, and everyone who has worked hard to organize this program. To all participants, whether you are joining us here in the auditorium or online, I encourage you to actively engage, ask questions, and take inspiration from this session to enrich your own teaching and learning practices. Once again, welcome, and I wish you all fruitful and inspiring discussion. Thank you. Billahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Professor Ucu, for the inspiring remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now entering the invited speaker session. To guide this session, allow me first to introduce our moderator. She is Ibu Suci Nurhayati, MPD, a lecturer of Mathematics Education, Universitas Terbuka, who will lead and facilitate the discussion with our invited speaker. Please welcome Ibu Suci to the stage. Now, under the guidance of our moderator, we are truly honored to welcome Professor Roberto Araya, PhD, Professor at the Institute of Education, University of Chile. Let's give a warm applause to Professor Roberto Araya. Ibu Suci, please take the lead in conducting the lecture.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you to the Master of Ceremony who has just invited me to moderate today's main session of the Studium Generale Faculty of Education and Teacher Training, Universitas Terbuka. Distinguished guests, we have just listened to the welcoming remark from the Dean of FKIP Universitas Terbuka. Now I have the honor to guide the main session of Studium Generale with the theme Unplugged Computational Thinking Meets Coloring Books, Learning Without a Screen. This theme is highly relevant to today's educational needs, exploring how computational thinking skill can be developed creatively relying on digital screen, using simple yet powerful tools such as coloring books. Ladies and gentlemen, before we proceed the presentation, allow me to introduce our distinguished speaker, Professor Roberto Araya. He is a full professor at the Institute of Education, University of Chile. He earned his PhD in electrical engineering from the University of California, Los Angeles. He worked extensively on AI application in education, training, and industry. Prof. Araya has received numerous international awards, including a Best Paper Award at the 10th International Conference on Intelligent Methodologies and Systems for Technology Enhanced Learning. MIS4TEL 2020 at Italy, Best Paper Award at the 10th International Conference on a Web-Based Learning ICWL 2011 at Hong Kong, Best Poster Award at the 12th European Conference on Technology Enhanced Learning ECTEL 2017 at Estonia, and Best Paper nomination at the 23rd International Conference on Artificial Intelligence and Education AIED 2022 at Durham, UK. He is the designer of Connecta Ideas, a tutoring platform that won the M Education Alliance 2024 Math Power Prize for its large-scale implementation in Peru. In 2025, he was also appointed as an honorary member of the Peruvian Association for Research in Mathematics Education, APINEMA. Prof. Araya has trained teachers for the Southeast Asian Minister of Education Organization, SEAMOLEC, and the University of Tsukuba, Japan. He has delivered seminar on AI with coloring books for SEAMOLEC STEM ED, SEAMOLEC KITEP, and SEAMOLEC RIXAM, and co-authored the SEAMOLEC STEM ED guidebook for Unplugged Computational Thinking. He has also pioneered the development of lesson study and open lesson in Chile, coordinated cross-border lesson studies through EPIC project, and introduced AI technology for lesson study 2.0. In addition, he co-directed the APEC in M.Sc project and the gamification with Connecta Ideas project of the British Education Endowment Foundation in collaboration with SUMMA and the Inter-American Development Bank. His projects have been supported by the International Development Research Center of Canada, the Finnish Academy of Science together with ANID Chile, the IDB in Peru, and the Ministries of Education of Chile and Peru. He also served as the review editor on the editorial board of Frontiers in Artificial Intelligence. Prof. Araya has authored numerous scientific papers available on Google Scholars and written several influential books, including Guidebook for Unplugged Computational Thinking, 2024, SEAMOLEC STEM ED, Colorea Ideas Emocionalidad y Razonamiento, 2022, Colorea Ideas Pensamiento Computacional, 2022, Colorea Ideas 2019, Aprende STEM Comics 2018, Clases Públicas STEM Incendios Forestales 2017, Inteligencia Matemática 2000, and several others. Please excuse me if my pronunciation is incorrect. With such remarkable contribution, it's truly an honor for us to learn directly from Professor Roberto Araya today. And now, without further ado, please welcome our distinguished speaker, Professor Roberto Araya, to deliver his presentation. Professor Araya, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. First, I would like to thank the University of Terbuka for invite me to share with you some ideas of an education, and particularly to Dr. Uku Rahayu. Sorry, my name's our dean. Thank you very much for this invitation. And I would want to thank my friend Cahya Kusuma, for also for all this working together and trust each other on that we can together do make a difference. We were talking with Cahya that we have a window of opportunity now because of AI, because now the need of changing, introduce some big changes in education. So, and this is beyond mathematics, beyond language, beyond science, is something new. And I think this university is in an incredible position to make a difference not only in Indonesia but in Southeast Asia, but all over the world. And I would like to maybe next year have you in Chile as well. We're just friends from Thailand just went to Chile to spend 2 weeks, and they teach class to students, a lesson study in this area with coloring books, and also in Peru. And I think we learn so much from each other. Okay, so I'm gonna talk. I understand 45 minutes. That's right, 45 minutes. So unplugged rational thinking and coloring books, learning without screens. I want to say that I love screens. Um, Initially, I studied mathematics and did my PhD in electrical engineering. So I like all technology, but we have to be intelligent how to use it. And I think now we have to understand well that what is really important are the core concepts. These devices could change. Probably in 5 more years, nobody's going to be using smartphones. Maybe yes, some year that will interact. So maybe screens are not going to be as important as today. But the core ideas, that's what we are looking for and try to teach our students and with them learn. Okay, so my idea is first to very quickly talk about this eruption of AI that will change everything. Second, computational thinking, what it is, why we have to work on this. And then large language models like ChatGPT, Gemini, and particularly chain of thought. That means reasoning, chains of reasoning. So that's the critical skill that our students from kindergarten have to develop and improve. They are already are reasoning, but these chains are the new technology in AI. Coloring books, AB, means not only problem solving, but something critically more challenging and important now is problem posing. You pose a problem, you have to be more creative to pose a good problem to peers. Worksheets, I'm going to show you some worksheets we've been working already. Lesson studies, how to, a way of do teacher training in use this Japanese strategy. That's where in introducing these ideas. So first eruption of AI. This is Stanford, University of Stanford AI Index. Here as several years. And this is the performance in different tasks like mathematics, and that systems are getting as good as the best students in high school, and now as good in mathematics as Olympiad mathematics students, the best students in the world. So the ability of this AI in mathematics is getting to the level of the best students of the world. So see, we're gonna have machines that are able to do this, all this reasoning. And so some people say we're in a Sputnik moment. So this opportunity now, or that we make a difference in this Sputnik moment. Other people has represented this is time, this is now, and this is how the education and knowledge has been changing all this time. But now it's a big change. Wow, big change, completely new. More important than the development of writing, more important than the introduction of printing. And according to Hassabis, the Nobel Prize in Chemistry, and now in charge of Gemini in Google, according to Mr. Hassabis, now this change is 10 times more bigger than the Industrial Revolution. 10 times. It's incredible. But 10 times faster. And 10 by 10 is 100 times more important, more effect, more revolution than the Industrial Revolution. 100 times. Can't you imagine that? Incredible. And our kids are going to be there in 10, 20 more years, a completely different world. So that's our mission, how to imagine this future and what should we teach them and how teach them in order to be in this world. And some people say this is the end of programming. This is a professor in Harvard, in the University of Harvard of computer science. He said it's completely changed because now one engineer with AI is able to do the same as 10,000 engineers without AI in programming. It's a big difference. Incredible. And this is Jensen, that NVIDIA, they make the chips. He says nobody has to program. This is going to be the change. And the machines, you can think that who learns deeper and faster. Machines are learning much deeper, looking all what we have, humanity have written, and also doing coloring, by the way, the machines, and learning very fast, and teaching one machine to other machines very fast. So that's the challenge we have. And here is the other Nobel Prize, Geoffrey Hinton. It's because people say, no, the machine is just memorizing everything. No, according to him, ChatGPT, Gemini, all the large language models are understanding. Not memorizing, but understanding what's going on, so the machine is able to understand. So that's the world we're into, and it's a big change for all our students, the kind of work they're going to. So, okay, just give you some information about this eruption of AI. It's going to change completely 100 times bigger than the Industrial Revolution. Maybe 200 years ago, most people here were working in agriculture, also in my country, almost everywhere. Now, some countries less than 1% work in agriculture. Even in industry, not many people work, most people work in services. But the machine is going to take a lot of these services, like lawyers, like physicians, all this kind of work. Machines are going to also handle this very well. It's a big change. So now, computational thinking. What is this? So, we started thinking about this like 10 years ago with Dr. Isoda from Japan, University of Tsukuba. And he started promoting this. So we have to think about this because in Japan, Tsukuba University has these sciences. The main sign is, sorry. This is this. Oh. Maybe he was listening, Okay. So, and we produced in APEC, Asia Pacific, like 8 years ago, like a curriculum in this computational thinking. And this is our parliament in Chile, and this is a lesson study, open lesson in the parliament. How to teach computational thinking to our students. So, and they say computational thinking is the new programming. That's the new idea. According to some people, particularly this Wolfram, that developed one of the most powerful mathematics languages, computer languages. Initially, you have language to talk to each other, communicate. Then you have logic, then you have mathematics like a super language, and now you have computational thinking. It's cover language, logic, and mathematics all together and more. So that's somehow, according to Wolfram, the author of Mathematica, this is the computational thinking. In the PME, Psychology Mathematical Education, that was in Thailand a couple of years ago, the main thing was think about the future of math education. And this is like the fourth industrial revolution. What are the skills we need? So people start worrying about this, computational thinking. And this is the Singapore Association of Mathematical Educators, like 6 years ago, called me and say, okay, we have this every year. We have like to all the math teachers, try to some view where are we going? And it was about the future. What mathematics should we teach? And the Academy of Science of Singapore has a special number, and they invite me to see how should we teach kids to these new ideas. They are looking into the future. This was a couple of years ago. This was before ChatGPT. And so here what we think we have need to teach our students. First, how does AI work? We need to understand it well, and be able to teach how this thing works. How was the machinery? What biases does it have? Because it's a cognitive system, also have biases. As humans, we also have biases. Different illusions or way of thinking. What are the limitations of technology? What is the psychology of AI agents? They have a way of behaving, so they have their own psychology. So what is their psychology? For example, if you have a dog, the dog also has a psychology. Basic psychology, but it has psychology. Also, cats are different from dogs. You have to motivate in different ways. And also, machines have their own psychology. What are the mechanisms? And finally, can we trust this machine? And when can we trust? Because they are taking decisions for us. So can we trust? And in order to trust, you need to understand them. Otherwise, it's just blind trust. This is no good. And the thing is that creativity, we have to put the emphasis now. Machines are going to be able to solve most of the problems very well, not only summarize, right? But the creativity part is going to be the part for humans. And now PISA, PISA test? Who knows PISA test here? Who have, yeah, okay, PISA test, international test. Now they are introduced this creativity PISA test. And these are the dimensions. Written argumentation, how kids have to write. It's not multiple choice. They have to write. So that's something new. Second, visual reasoning. Is they able to, do visual reasoning? Problem posing. Oh, they have to pose problem, not solve. This PISA posing problem. That's the most challenging part. And also solving, but this is the most challenging one. And, argumentation, explanation, how your arguments is critical, plus this problem posing. So that's what we need to do according to PISA, according to the OCDE. That's what we have to develop in our students. Oh, something happened. Okay. We developed with University of Tsukuba, Simio, Konken, we developed this guidebook like 2 years ago for Unplugged computational thinking. You can look at it, and around 1/3 of the book of this guidebook for teachers is about coloring books. Okay. Now they say it's a big change in computers. When I started, or before I started, you have to program everything with ones and zeros. Then assembly language was very basic thing. Then Fortran, then C++, then Python, and now English. is the new programming language. Because you communicate with the computer as you were talking to a person. So our mission is to make Bahasa Indonesia the new programming language as well. So people will program, will talk with the computers in the natural language. But we have to also be precise. So that's what we have to teach the kids, the children, to talk to the computer in a precise language. So that's our mission. This is our programming language. That's what they call prompting. What you do in ChatGPT or in. Okay. I don't know what happened. Okay. So chain of thought, what is that? A basic psychology. Kahneman, Nobel Prize that just started 1 year ago, he said we have two systems. It's a dual cognition system. System one is an intuitive system, very fast. It's helped you solve typical problems. You don't think much. Very good for solution for a lot of things. Like me now walking, I'm not thinking how I'm going to put my legs. I just walk. And system two, so it's automatic, it's very fast. System two is more conscious. You have to think. You have algorithmic thinking. You have to. So it is for new important decision. You have to think, and you have an interplay between the two. Sometimes this produces a solution, and this says, "Oh, no! You have to break, inhibit, and change." So there's a dual system. And here you have like a representation. System one is like the elephant. Who has ride an elephant? Here, nobody? A horse. Who has ridden a horse? It's not so simple. It's not like riding a car. When you're riding a car or a motorcycle, you do something and the machine will do exactly what you ask for. With a horse or the elephant also has her personality. And maybe you have to convince the elephant to do something. It's not automatic. But it has so this representation of the automatic system, but has its own personality. So it's not that simple to control it. And then you have the system two you trying to control, convince the elephant to something. Now, most of the things the elephant do is okay, but sometimes you need to do something different than the elephant do, and this is the conscious part. And for that, you have to develop your strategy, and the strategy normally you talk to yourself. So this is represented with the puppet that the puppet talked to me and said, Roberto, you have to maybe do it this way. So this is like a metacognition system. This is a system two, together with system one, solving the problem. Most of the problem will solve it automatically, very fast. But this is the part we have to teach students to control the system one and to make good decisions. And for that, use this puppet, that's the conscious part, your internal speech. You talk to this internal speech. That's the idea behind that. So that's me in Thailand. I know I was riding this elephant, and there was another elephant next to this, bigger than this one, but with nobody up there. I asked, why is this other elephant with us? He said, the other elephant is the daughter of this one. It's like a teenage daughter. The mother would not go there without her daughter. So it looks like it's not cost effective, but to convince the mother to go to some place with me, she wants to go with her daughter. So we have to talk with her daughter. So that's the kind of thing that we have to understand now. And now change this by the new system, the new machine, the new language. So you need to understand how this works in order to behave and solve the problems. Okay. Oh, okay. Now, this idea of talking to your puppet, and initially you start talking with it, but little by little go inside you, is the idea of Vygotsky. Who has heard of Vygotsky here? Vygotsky, the Belarusian psychologist about 100 years ago, he said that argumentation, when you write an argumentation, when you talk to another, is a process of internalization of talking to you with yourself. Initially, you talk to another one, little kid talk to another people, but little by little is going to inside. So that's internalization process. So we have to develop this argumentation process, the reasoning process, and that's somehow the way to do it. So here I'm gonna not showing.
Terminamos de pintar las poleas y lo de aquí lo conectamos al punto. También de la niña azul, la polera azul. Patineta, niña amarilla. ¿Entendiste? Te voy a enseñar poco a poco para que entiendas más la lectura. Pintamos y pintamos. Zapatillas rojas.
Okay, so it's looking at the instruction.
Ya, ahí están conectados.
¿Cómo vas con tus tareas, mi amor?
Sí, voy bien, mami.
So,
Ahora sí,
so the idea of the
Ya,
coloring is
conecta y
that
pinta roja la
you follow
casa
certain
con más
instructions
perros
that
adentro.
you read what's going on, and then
Me faltó conectar.
you
abajo
this
que dice.
instruction have to be worded
Conecta y
completely. That's the basic
pinta amarillo la casa con
So he's,
solo un
but any
perro
moment
adentro.
he's talking with his puppet,
Me falta
the
conectar.
way to do it.
Mami, quiero hacer un video con este cuaderno,
So
a
it's
subirlo
not only
a
coloring, it's
Conecta Ideas.
argumentation.
Ya, mi amor, lo vamos a hacer, ¿ya?
Hoy día.
Sí.
Conecta y pinta rojo el objeto donde
And these are students in Peru. All of them are developing their puppets in order to develop this communication skill. Before you write something, before you talk to somebody else and write the instructions or explanation, talk to yourself. Break, inhibit a little bit, and talk to yourself. And you can have the puppet in different positions. Say, okay, Roberto, from this position, how would you look at it? Or from yesterday or last year, how would you see the situation now? Or from the future, like in 2 more years, how would you, or from this other angle? And after that, you write. What the studies have shown that students that do this kind of exercise, they develop better argumentation skills. They write better. They are more precise. So that's the kind of thing we'll be doing. And these are kids in the school developing this. Now, chain of thought. What is chain of thought? It's connections. You talk with your puppet or several puppets. Let's say you have a kid. This is our representation that is trying to solve a problem. Okay, so this change. Okay, and so in order to solve the problem or pose a problem, she talks with her puppet. That's an inner voice. Let's say when you have a big problem, at night you talk with yourself. How would you do it? You talk it. But then at some time you need another point of view. So maybe you have another, you think of, let's say, of Piaget. Here you thought about maybe Freud. Here you think you were talking with Piaget, another inner voice of you, to have different points of view. And maybe another one, another way of, and with another personality. So you maintain several conversations, several talk with different role models about your problem. But they have also their own puppet, a recursive thing. This puppet has its own puppet. So this is the metacognition of this puppet. When you're talking with this, let's say Freud, you talk with him, but Freud also talk with his puppet. So this is the kind of thing that we need to develop in our student, and we call this the whole thing metacognition. So you learn to talk to several of yourself. And this inner speech, they all have models, and they also talk to their inner speech. And the new language model like ChatGPT, DeepSeek, and Gemini, if you look at them, they have this inner speech. They copy the new AI models. They copy this idea from psychology. Maybe who has used DeepSeek here? DeepSeek, you? Who else? the Chinese model? No, nobody have used. Well, but now also this is also in the new 04 Mini. Who has used 04? Or 03? You? Well, all these models. These models, they develop a talk with themselves, and they start, when solving the problem, they say, okay, now I'm going to try this. No. And they do some computation and argumentation, say, no, this is getting too difficult. Maybe I'll do it another way and talk with another part. So you can see now the computer reasoning in this way. You can read how the machine is reasoning. And this is very interesting from education point of view, because the student is not all information, see all the reasoning, all the doubts, do something and they say, no, maybe this is too risky. I'm going to do this other way. So the student could start reading, and you can start reading all the strategies that the machine is doing. It's doing this same process. So this is chain of thought. So one of the most important things we have to teach is chain of thought, connections of different argumentation and reasoning. Coloring books. Coloring is very powerful. For example, here, you see a triangle here, the red triangle. How many has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? 5 by 5 rectangle triangle. And this blue, what is the size? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6, and the red is 5. You put these two triangles, what do you get? Square. So 2 consecutive right triangles form a square. This is a mathematical theorem. If you have to prove this, it's not easy. But with coloring, it's very easy. You can see it. See the power of coloring. Here is another one. How many triangles you see here? 4, 5. Why 5? Who said 5? Who said 5? You? Why 5? Can you hear? Can you hear? Can you hear? Okay. Maybe okay, can you explain? Can you see 5 triangles or 4? Who said 4? 4. Who says 5? Okay, yeah, explain why. Yeah, explain, please.
Okay, from the picture I saw, I counted that there are 5 triangles. The small triangles are 4, and the biggest, and then I can see the biggest triangle.
How many red triangles? Red.
3.
3 red.
And 1 triangle.
1. So that's 4.
Is green.
And then
The biggest one is
the big one. And this
the combination of red and green.
These are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. And this 1, 2, 3, 4. It's smaller. 1 size smaller. And this says the following. 3 right triangles size n plus 1 smaller makes a big triangle of twice this size. This is a mathematical thing. Now, if you want to prove this, it's very difficult. It's not easy. Not easy. But if you, with coloring, you see, it's not that difficult. I mean, yeah, I understand this thing. But if you do it with algebra this way, it's not easy at all. This, for engineering students, math students, is difficult. But color in 2nd grade is easy. So you see the change? The power of coloring sometimes makes complex idea very simple, or much more simple. Now, this was the first textbook for kids. Comenius, this year, he he was the first that thought, okay, kids are not the same as adults, just smaller size. They think a little bit different, more visual. So he introduces this orbis sensualium, from Latin, sense, visual, and pictus. So, and he changed completely what was textbooks. And that he introduced textbooks now with pictures. That was 400 years ago. And most of the textbooks now contain this. But, you know, it's not very active. You don't color, you don't write, you don't pose problems. So we think it's the next level. After Comenius, he introduced the visual, the senses. But now we can go more. This is the coloring books. This is the Japanese version we translated. We have Bahasa version now. And here, all the books have the following thing. Has an activity in A. For example, here says, here, can you read for me? Connect and paint. My was blocking. And here, can you read this? The duck, this means these are the duck with most ducklings, yeah? Which one it is? Now, you know, this is not simple mathematical problem. You have an array of duck and ducklings, and you have what is called a minimax. I mean, the biggest duck and the biggest duck with the most ducklings. Oh, that's the rightmost duckling. Connect the yellow duck with the most duckling, yeah. And so this is the kind of thing they have to, the students do. This page A and do, and in page B, they have to pose, page B, pose a problem to their peers. That's the thing. What they have to write something. They have to pose something similar to their peers, not exactly the same. So that's the kind of thing we're doing. And this page B, page B. Oh, here is another one. Here it says, in each box, paint at least 2 balls, 2 blue balls. These are in each box, means you have to go through an array of boxes and then with the balls. These are logic quantifiers. Normally, this kind of thing are taught in logic in university. But with this kind of thing, with box with balls, you can teach these ideas to second graders. These are some second graders that pose a problem to their peers, you know, using these logical quantifiers. And here is another one. I just did this. This is the following one. It says, okay, let me see if you can help me this. Can you read this or not? It says, oh, I cannot read. Paint the object where the coin is hidden is red. You have to paint it red. There is a coin that is hidden in some place. So what is it? I left my coin in a book. That's what the girl says. Yeah, I trust, what it says? I trust the sheep. Which book will be in? She trusts the sheep. Yeah. Yeah, you have book 1, yeah. She trusts the sheep. Yeah, book 1. Okay, let's read the following one. So what does the cat says? It's not near me. Is another clue. What does the pig says? What's the pig say? The cat is a liar. And what the duck says? The pig is a liar. And what the sheep says? Oh, wow, the duck is a liar. So what would you do? This is not an easy problem. What would you do? You know, you have a connection of cues. So what would you do? How would you solve this? Now, the girl trusts the sheep. So what would you do? You know, so that's not easy. And now, the student did this, 6th grade students, 6th grade. And they pose a similar problem. That's what they wrote here. Now let's see how they did it. So she trusts the ship. So the connection, your logical chain is go to the ship because she trusts the ship. Yeah? I'm giving you the solution. Now, she trusts the ship. Now, what is next? And what the ship says, the duck is a liar. So this is, this must be telling the truth because she trusted this. And this guy is a liar. So this is saying something that is false. And what does this says? The pig is a liar. So how about this? If this is lying and it says this is lying, so how about this? What? This is saying the truth, this is makes lie, and this says no, this lies. So what would the conclusion will be? Twice liar, so what it will be? This is a liar, and this says this is lying. Is this lying or not? No, because this is lying and said this is a liar. But because this is lying, it means this is telling the truth. You can conclude that. And see, this is telling the truth, something happened. And this is telling the truth, and it's not near me. So what can you conclude? This is telling the truth, and this, he said that it's lying. So what can you conclude? That this is false. Must be closed, yeah? So it must be this book. See the whole chain of thing? This is a chain of thought. So learn to do this thing, And this is chain of thought. And this is what we're trying to say. Now, what are the worksheets? These are kids doing these activities. What language is this? Can you read this? Huh? Malaysia, yeah. No, it's not Malaysia. What language is this? Indonesia, yeah. These are kids that have been doing this. Yeah, and these are what they've been doing already. Some activities by kids in elementary school. There's more activities that they've been doing. These are page B, activities with the labyrinths, and they're posing problem to their peers, another problem they're posing to their peers. So that's they're doing. It's more problem that they're doing. Here I have some translations, This is Indonesian Bahasa, but this is some translation. And so we have now thousands of worksheets, but it still is not so many. We need to understand these activities by the students. And lesson studies. So lesson study? Who knows lesson study? The Japanese way of training? Okay, this was some years ago. Sorry. Some years ago, this was in the school, and it was a teacher teaching, and all these teachers watching this. Unfortunately, I'm very tall, I could see what's going on. So it was for me a shock of seeing a teacher teaching a class. And this is a class in University of Tsukuba. Here are the students. Something happened. The students, they're showing what they're doing, and all these are teachers. And with APEC, we do this. This is in our national parliament. Lesson. Sorry. I do something. And this is the students are working the lesson, and all these are teachers observing this. And this is the national parliament. We did this for the APEC lesson on computational thinking. And this is the class I taught in Japan about.
Has he solved the problem?
There are teachers working the lesson.
Has he solved the problem?
It's 8th grade.
You have the same? Okay.
Okay,
So continue.
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 this is student working in the activity.
Okay.
So that's lesson study. So we are trying to use lesson study now to solve this is something we have been doing in some schools.
Conecta y pinta un niñito con una pelota. En esa página lo vamos a abrir. Escribo mi nombre y mi apellido.
Lo llena. Hay que pintarlo rojas.
Tienen que leer y hacer lo que dice. Ahí hay una indicación.
Y hay que pintarlo.
Una instrucción. Pinta lo que dice, no. Pero mira.
Niño azul.
¿Qué dice?
Pantalón niño azul. Polera niño celeste. No, nunca ponemos.
Nosotros vamos a escribir y vamos a hacer la pregunta. ¿Ya?
Pelota niño naranjo.
They are writing in their peers.
La pelota azul. Azul. ¿Qué te falta? Azul. Y voy a tirarlo así.
Yo ya lo hice.
Con mucho cuidado.
They are writing prompts. The programming language now is Spanish also. And here are some teachers doing this in Computational Thinking. This is in Yogyakarta. We did it like last year. These are teachers. They are doing the activities. They're doing page 8, different kind of activities. So the first thing is you have to do the so that they did a workshop doing activities and also posing problems to their peers. Here to universal quantifiers, so all different kind of computational thinking, like using quantifiers, using spatial thinking, using probability, statistical thinking, justifiers. Here's some justification of how
I colored Xbox a different color.
Saya memilih 4 warna.
metacognition means.
Hi, you guys. This is my inner voice. It's a concrete version of my inner voice. So I talk to you. Now, when I'm talking to you, I'm going to pose a problem, and normally it's me just talking with myself.
And di box terakhir saya memilih 4 bola juga seperti di box pertama dengan warna hijau.
Very good. You're very good. An explanation.
Well, here is a lesson study we did also in Jakarta with the activity with the curriculum. We started it and after that, this training, some teachers decided to try. Like now with Cahya also, some teachers decided to try. And here are some teachers trying to apply this in the schools. And then they're showing what they've been doing. There's other schools. So we're collecting data to adjust the activities to the different grades. So every teacher record the lesson. Every teacher send all the student work and their plan. Here are other class doing this other activity. Here's another one. The piano lesson that we were discussing, I think this first grade. They're starting to read and write, explaining the solution to the whole class. And okay, so, and doing this is the chain of thought activity that we've been doing in the school. Oh, this is in Peru. The kid is 6th grade. They're doing the activity with chain of thought. And they are posing the problem to their peers. So that's the kind of things. So finally, what we're doing is also training with teachers. The teachers are doing these activities in the books. This is in Chile. They're doing the activity in the book. This is one of the main algorithms of that algorithm is the main algorithm of AI now. It's called the steeped ascent or steeped descent. And it looks like very sophisticated engineering algorithm, but it can be taught even in kindergarten. The same main algorithm that is behind ChatGPT can be taught to kindergarten. That's with coloring books. That's the important thing. And oh, we are in time. Okay. Okay. We are on time. So thank you very much for your time, and you have comments or questions?
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Roberto Araya. Please give applause, everybody. Okay, for such an inspiring presentation. We will now move to question and answer session. Ladies and gentlemen, if you wish to ask a question, please feel free to raise up your right hand. Okay.
Okay. Hi, Prof. Roberto. Let me introduce myself. My name is Valeria. I'm from Mathematics Education. So thank you so much for your presentation. Very, very insightful for me, especially because of my background. Yeah. And my question is, when there are children in the class who are colorblind, are there any other activities to replace the coloring activities, or will the teacher only use two colors like the dark and the light? Thank you.
Thank you very much for the questions. Of course, there are some kids that are colorblind. Also, there are some students with special education needs. And some in the lesson study we did in Chile with this Thai teacher that went there. One of the students in the lesson with hundreds of teachers observing this had one of these problems, which was a high deficit attentional problem. But in particular with colorblind, yeah, you can say just black or white, or depending on the degree of the colorblind. Now, you have a small percentage of kids that maybe we're not able to do, but also you can do other way of with patterns you can do with them. So you have a way of alternative. And the thing is that in this way, even if kids with normal color, they like to paint in the different degrees of yellow, and so put it more beautiful, more pretty. So in some sense, what's interesting here is not only mathematical thinking, it's not only computational thinking algorithm, it's also is writing, it's also is explaining, it's also is the narrative. For example, the criteria sometimes is the narrative. When you pose a problem, maybe the algorithm ideas are not very different, but you change somehow the narrative or the story. And also you change the color or the patterns. So there are plenty of alternatives. So somehow you also introduce art and beauty. And so you have all this interdisciplinary thing that you can do it in this way. Somehow this was started with Comenius in 400 years ago, but now we can go more than that. And with something we're discussing in the morning, that when you ask the student to do part B and they start designing the problem, posing the problem, then it opens a whole world there. So now it could be difficult to assess the creativity. It's not that simple. For example, it's much simpler to assess something when it's multiple choice. You know, it's correct. Question number 5, the correct is B. Very simple. Here, the kids pose a problem, design a lot of different components. So, and here AI can help us. We were discussing in the morning how AI can help you, how ChatGPT can help you assess these other components. So that's something that we're working on. But yes, I think we have to think in ways to open to more options. And colorblind kids can also be included with different shades when they put the information in the book. Okay.
Thank you, Professor. There are a question in a Q&A because there's a participant on the online. Okay. From Karisma Puji, UT Jember. I would like to ask a question to Mr. Roberto Araya. As a teacher, sometimes I notice that while a child may complete the task like coloring a sequence correctly, it's unclear whether the student understand why the pattern work or if they simply follow instruction. This raises question about the depth of conceptual understanding versus surface level task completion. What I'm really curious is that how can teachers design valid and reliable assessment for abstract cognitive process like decomposition and algorithmic thinking in young learners, especially when expressed to non-digital activities?
Well, 2 questions, very good questions. So first, congratulations for these are very deep questions, very deep. So the first one is how can we make sure if the student's really understanding? Well, when you have, let's say, a multiple choice question, maybe he answered B correctly by chance. No, because he has 1 in 4 to be correct. So you don't know. When you ask someone to color and to explain in writing, you have much more information of what he's really thinking. And in page B, when you ask the student to pose a problem, this is a more challenging task. So then you have the possibility to really almost read the student mind, what is really thinking, how much is his understanding. So you have much more information of what the student is doing, so you have better chance to assess the degree of understanding of the student. So here you have a tool that enables you to understand much more. Now, it needs more time to read all what the student did, but that's, again, now AI can help you in that. So you are right. Someone could do correctly, like in multiple choice, and you'll be correctly without understanding. But now you have much more information. So your estimation of how it's doing the thinking is much better than just a multiple choice or with short answer. So it's not completely solved, but you have much more information when you have to explain in your own words and when you have to pose a problem to other ones. If you don't understand something well, probably what you're going to pose is not going to make much sense. And the second question, how to design this thing? Well, that's why we have this collaboration with SEAMOLEC and Sekim and Sekil and diversity. That's something we have to, for different components, to develop this thing, because something new. So we have to develop this together. Now we have 3 books, and we have more books with all kind of activities, recursive thinking, decomposition. As you said, you can look at this and get some ideas from the other activities. You don't have to start from zero. You see, oh, this activity, for example, some of them is to teach logarithm. Logarithm to small kids. You know, logarithm normally is in, I don't know, 8th grade or something like that. But now you can teach logarithm with culinary activity to 4th grade. And that you don't say it's logarithm, that you just do the activity and sound like this in triangles and sounds reasonable. So that's something that I'm happy the student posed this problem, because that's something can work together. You have several books with several ideas, but there's still much more to be developed together with the main abstract ideas. For example, I showed something very quickly there about the steepest ascent algorithm, that there's the main algorithm of AI today that can be taught in kindergarten. When I used to teach that only to engineering students, but now you can teach this idea to kindergarten. So, so the second question is very important. We don't have for everything, but we want to work together to all the main ideas in math, in science, in literature, and also in history and biology. Yes, of course, biology. Also, of course, in the main ideas, put it in this way. So that's, for example, one thing we have been working is, how would you explain that within the Darwinian evolution, cooperation and empathy will evolve? It seems that everybody is competing with everybody. It doesn't make sense that we are friends with and cooperate with other people. Well, there is a way of doing this with culinary activity and makes sense. You start to understand there's not such a direct contradiction. So I think this is very powerful, but we have to work together to develop all what we need.
Okay, thank you, Professor. Are there any other questions from the participants? One last more.
There, one question. Ladies, yes, you? You have a question. Good.
Which one? Oh.
Thank you. My name is Benny Nugraha. I'm not from the early childhood department, but I have a 4-year daughter. Now, from time to time, I fight my daughter do coloring and also do cognitive communication, metacognitive communication with her dolls, and related to the to your presentation about coloring book, I would like to ask whether there are cautions for children under 7-year-old or below. I'm just worried. I'm just worried what the coloring book will have a bad effect for her. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the question. How old is your daughter?
4-year-old.
4 years?
4 years.
4.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, good. You know, I have 6 kids. I have six kids. 6 children. Now they are grown, but they're going through all this. And I started teaching them when they were 3 years old, you know, with this coloring thing. So, and they learn to read this way. I haven't shown here how to learn to read coloring. Um, why is that? Because coloring is very attractive for all the kids. They love coloring. They love. So it's attractive. But most of the coloring books that they sell on the bookstores is just coloring, nothing else. It doesn't have much more. But it is a very interesting tool to attract these kids. You do it with coloring and to put abstract ideas with coloring and learn to read, learn to write, like the basic math and all this thinking. So it's a very powerful tool, but we need to adapt to what we need them to learn. Let's say to read and learn to do some other more academic cognitive activities. So I can later show you some activities for kindergarten as well. When they are starting to read. And the other opposite, I can show you activities for high school, also coloring. So it's a whole thing, but it's not only coloring, it's also metacognition, talking to yourself, developing the argumentation, explanation, plus working with your peers in the class, posing problem to them. So it's more than coloring. We need to develop the whole set of strategies that are not very much used in textbooks now. But I think there's an opportunity. That's what we like to work together to develop this. So we can test with you and your daughter. Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, participant, we thank Professor Roberto Araya once more again. Please give applause for the inspiring presentation. Well, distinguished participant, we have now reached the conclusion of the Studium Generale with the Professor Roberto Araya. On behalf of organizing committee, I would like to express deepest gratitude to Professor Roberto Araya for his valuable knowledge and insight. The leadership FKIP Universitas Terbuka, the leadership of SEAMOLEC, and all participants for your active engagement. May today's session inspire us to foster innovative approach in education, especially in building computational thinking skills in more creative and enjoyable ways. With that, I would like to close this session. Please accept my apologies for any shortcomings in moderating today's event. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon and see you at our next event. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Araya, for your inspiring presentation and valuable insights. And our sincere appreciation also goes to Ibu Suci Nurhayati MPD for kindly moderating and leading the session so smoothly. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give another round of applause to both our speaker and our moderator. Before we continue to the next agenda, we would like to present a certificate and a token of appreciation from Faculty of Education and Teacher Training, Universitas Terbuka, to our distinguished speaker. I would like to invite Professor Dr. Ucu Rahayu, M.Sc, Dean of the Faculty of Education and Teacher Training, to come forward and present the certificate to our distinguished speaker.
dikalungin.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Ucu Rahayu and Professor Araya. Now, let's take a moment for group documentation. Mas Mahdi, please help us to take pictures. So everyone, please to stand. Dear all participants, I kindly inform you all to please fill out the online feedback form by scan the barcode shown on the slide. Kindly be informed to use your Gmail account. Once again, kindly be informed to use your Gmail account.